Hi friends, welcome to Active Cell Protection Extra here today at the C2 Tactical in the 338 Club in Scottsdale. And I want to talk to you today about the next step in kind of getting used to my optic, the new optic that I've put on here, and specifically how to get kind of close with a zero when you don't have enough range to get a true zero. I use Throom targets on the range for all the benefits of steel with none of the drawbacks. They're made in the USA too. Pick up a set to make your shooting more fun and effective. Many thanks to C2 Tactical for letting us use the 338 Club here. Love this place. So it's a 25-yard range. Now, of course, I don't want to argue zeros with you. I prefer a 50-yard zero. That's what I prefer. I don't want to argue about that. We can have that discussion another day. But I don't have a 50-yard range accessible to me today in order to really zero it. But I do have this 25-yard indoor range, and we can get close. We call that kind of a Nero. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but I can make sure that my windage is right, and I can make sure that my elevation is close to what it should be on that day, so that when I do go out there to actually zero my carbine, I get real fun. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to recognize that, remember, bullets go on a ballistic trajectory. They don't go straight, right? They go on a trajectory, and I have some offset here. So the height between my barrel and the line of sight of my optic is, on this case, right about 2 inches, right? So it's on a 1.7 mount. There's another 3 to 4/10 of an inch or so from that to where the center of my barrel is, maybe even a 1/2 inch. So with all that in mind, we have a little bit of offset. We should, at 25 yards, have about half of that. So I'm gonna say I want this to be somewhere right around 3/4 of an inch low at 25 yards. Shouldn't be like super low, shouldn't be 2, 3, 4 inches low. If so, we'll dope it a little bit. But might be a little tiny bit low. Now, I did this earlier with my Blackbeard and the laser, and I got it kind of sort of dialed in a little bit. Now we're going to refine that just a little bit more. I'm doing that as part of my test and my kind of understanding of this optic, which is a Swamp Fox Arrowhead in 1 to 10. Not ready to talk about it yet, but I am ready to shoot it some more. We're going to do a couple things. Number one, we used this target earlier, and it has all these little crosshairs on it, which is great. We'll just use this again. We use this in another video, but it gives me a really good spot to aim at. So I'm absolutely going to do that. Number two, I'm going to use this bench rest. And the reason I'm going to use a bench rest is just to remove that wobble zone out of the way so that we get the accurate hits, so we know, do I need to make any adjustments kind of to the scope and where it's aiming. I'm also going to dial in a little bit of magnification here. Should affect the point of aim of the optic at all, of course, but will give me a little bit finer reference in terms of my aiming point in order to get as precise a shot as I can, so that we know that it's not the loose nut behind the trigger, that it's the optic if I've got to adjust it. I had to adjust the diopter there a little bit in order to see clearly through it. Now I've got it. Okay, now let's just set down on this guy. Red, I'm gonna go for the red card. That was a good shot. That was a little bit left. I was still on the card, but I was probably on the edge of the red circle. That was perfect when the dot lifted. All right, that's 3. Safety's on. Let's see what we found. See if we need to make any adjustments. So I told you dead on, and then a little bit of left. So since I have 1, 2, 3 here, this one I told you was probably a little bit high. So that I actually like, it's probably the right elevation. I think I need to come right a little bit, and let's redo it. So how far right do we need to come? I say we need to come probably a good 1.5 inches and take ourselves another kind of Nero and see what we got. I don't love that pattern. I'm just kind of, this thing's fluttering around a little bit, and I'm trying to shoot relatively quickly. But I tell you what, let's take, and we're going to put a full 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches is, let's see, about, well, it's 1.5 minutes, and these are 1/2 minute clicks. So we would say 3 at 100 yards, but now we're at 25. So we got to have 4 times that, 12 clicks. All right, see about that this time. All right, that was a good lift off right there. A little more stability. That was a little bit right. pretty darn okay. So interestingly enough, one of the things that I did is instead of using my magazine as kind of a, a resting point, I used the front of the rifle. So I got a incredibly better pattern out of that. Again, had one just a little bit to the right. Now I actually think I need to come half that number back. So I'm gonna come 6 clicks back left. And actually I'm a little bit high here. So I'm gonna click down just a little bit. Because I'd really rather it be somewhere down here than where we had that. See if we can dial that in and get it a little bit closer. That one was moving left. All right, that's all I had anyhow, so. Yeah, so kind of back to the middle, had a really good group here. But now we're sitting that about 1.5 inches low, just a little bit, and we've come back now. You can chase zeros all day long. I'm gonna do this one more time. I'm actually gonna come back up half my clicks and then overwrite just a couple more and take one more stab at it and see if we can get it a little bit closer. Yeah, that guy was headed left when it went, that's for sure. Calm down, John. Little up on that last one. Now, of course, the problem with this is I'm not sandbagging it. I'm not actually resting it. So I've got some variation and those things. But again, we're just getting a Nero here. We're getting it in the ballpark so that we could get a hit if we needed to. So here's what we saw in that last one. A, I like the left and right split. That's exactly what I want to see. B, I actually like that I am right here about 3/4 of an inch to an inch down. I think that's fairly darn close. So for a Nero, I actually like what I have here. So I'm probably okay with this for now in terms of getting this guy where I like it. Now, I know for some people are gonna say, but John, maybe you should really dial it in and be serious. Guys, this is range ammo. We're not doing this identically and perfectly. And I gotta say, it's not something that I would, get all the time or whatever, but it gets me a start to get me a Nero when I'm out on the range. Hope it helps you.